share. They paid $200 and some dollars for some document that wasn't accurate. It wasn't right. He wanted his money back. They won't give it to him. Is there anything we can do about that? He ran off 200. Some pages, but it all wasn't the information that we requested. But they sent him. None of it's right. He wanted their money back. They won't take it to him.
They won't? How much did you pay him? From who?
I mean, what's the parish share?
No. Go. How many months of the new year now? About 3, 4?
Last day.
Hey, Bill.
Hi. How you been?
Good.
Good. Which way you going?
I'm trying to give you so I can park my Cadillac right
Oh,
here.
okay.
Hey, John.
Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry, I've leaned off for 5 minutes and everything.
Nothing worry me.
We're going to have a projection up here on this screen.
This way.
You'll have to come this way. Or sit up here.
And you feel good.
You can park that Cadillac or that Hummer.
It's a Cadillac, big Cadillac.
You know, I drive a
Back
Hummer.
over here, you okay?
Yes, good.
Hold on, we got to bring something.
No, I didn't take that.
We talk about sunshine.
Yeah. Who did? He know. That's what he do. How you enjoying married life?
Settle down.
It's working.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm back to the No, I'll send a letter saying you couldn't charge them if it was, so they didn't give them what he asked.
I'm emailing you.
The kind of law you need, I do a lot of elderly law, business and real estate, a lot of public interest law, and I have some, I have about 20 cases, nothing with a gun, sort of minor stuff. So I do a little bit of everything, but elderly law, public interest law, business transactions. A good website, my information. Yeah. I live in Shreveport. I filed more public records lawsuits than everybody put together, and I usually do, I don't know.
Lawsuits or requests?
Request, and if they don't comply, then I file a lawsuit.
Very good.
Parish population is 49. Need to see a couple more white faces shining here.
It's 4 o'clock, the meeting will come to order. I see we have a quorum present with board members. The next item on the agenda is the introduction of attendees. So I guess we'll start at this table and go around, and we'll get all the visitors there to introduce themselves.
Mr. President, at what point do I move for a closed board meeting? Just Board of Trustees.
that'll be for the approval of the agenda, but you may or may not be able to. My name is Neil Johnson. I'm the board president, this is my second year as board president. I've been on board since 2010.
I'm Chris Fowler Sandlin, board member.
Rebecca Thomas, board member.
Ascension Smith, board member.
Jenny Paxton, Associate Director for HR, Finance, and Administration.
Jim Pelton, Financial Officer, Shreve Memorial Library.
Beyonce Sutton, Interim Associate Director for Public Services and Regional Manager.
Kathy Tuminello, Executive Secretary.
Gail Griffin, Board of Trustee.
Donna Bell, board member.
Ron Kiesel, Executive Director.
Mary Canfield, First Manager for Main Branch.
Isaac Cosi, Regional Manager. Jimmy Kuzian.
Brittany Turner, Records Manager and Special Projects Librarian.
Bob Wyatt, retired Bossier School Board.
Willa Bradford.
John Settle.
Susan Fortenberry, Financial Services.
Marion Marks.
David Darnell, project coordinator.
Did all guests sign the
She
guest
did.
list? We didn't introduce Sandy.
Guess
She
who's
didn't
down
do
there?
that. You missed?
Yeah, I missed
Yes,
it.
list has to be.
Not me, Sandy Duncan.
I thought you did, I'm sorry.
No.
She did.
I don't know what guest list is.
Where's the guest list?
Where is the guest?
Where is the guest list?
Sir, you gonna do stuff?
Yeah, Craig Durrett.
Neil may have it, Kathy. Where is the guest list?
This list is,
Think about yellow pad.
I don't have this list.
There was one going around.
Greg, they want to make you fill out a form if you want to speak.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. If, I don't know if they can legally require us to sign a guest list or if they can legally require us to sign that form, but that's what that they're asking us to do.
Does anyone know anything about the guest list?
May I make a motion, please?
Has every guest signed the guest list? Choosing to sign.
It was supposed to be passed.
Something comment.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is moment of silent meditation. So, do that for a minute or so. Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is public comment. We allow a total of 15 minutes for each meeting. Go ahead. Bryce, you want to introduce yourself?
Bryce Barker, I'm the personnel attorney for the library.
We've all introduced ourselves.
Oh.
Anyway, we have usually 15 minutes for public comment. Each speaker is given 3 minutes to say whatever you would like to say. So, I don't know, I've had a request to be last. Does anybody want to go first? We've got 4 speakers here.
I'll be glad to. My name is Marion Marks. I work with law enforcement and private attorneys, insurance companies, and corporate agents on public records and forensic data. I have been a party to a number of public records requests in a number of agencies. Recently, I've been asked to be involved with public records requests of Shreve Memorial Library involving a number of issues. In each issue, I have found that the personnel of the library have been extremely cooperative, and I want to thank the library for that. However, I find, and I'm not an attorney, although an attorney that I work with is present, that members of the board of the library are generally not knowledgeable of the requirements to supply any communication or document that is in your possession related to the business of the library. And I find that you don't even understand that taking of notes at a board meeting constitutes documents. And when I receive a response that we have no documents at all, I find that quite negative, and I know that attorneys that I work find that as non-responsive, and it tends to be something that creates litigation. The library should be the center of education in the community, not negative on public records. And as far as the Sunshine Forum being canceled 24 hours prior to the forum for, quote, undisclosed reasons, as stated by the library, I found that almost dictatorial. And I would hope that in the future the library sponsors far more events that are open and available to the public to discuss issues which I think the public is interested in. There are a number of other issues, but I will yield, for my 3 minutes is probably about up. I can tell you this, that in our public records, and from what some whistleblowers who are interested parties of the library have turned over to us, I know that a number of issues warrant further investigation. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the board and to the ladies and gentlemen who assembled here. My reason for being here today is out of a concern regarding the cancellation of the Sunshine Week event that you had scheduled. Now, Mr. Chairman, open government is good. Anytime citizens can be a part of a forum to discuss government, especially open government, is a healthy forum. The problem in Shreveport is that, as well as in Cattle Parish, there is not enough of these events. Transparency in government is essential to our democratic principles. Government should be open to public scrutiny at all times. Public officials are elected by the citizens, work for the citizens, and are accountable to the citizens. Citizens have the right to assess public documents and have the right to know how their tax dollars are being spent. When I saw the open government event hosted on your Facebook page, I was pleased and immediately stated my intent to be there. I recognized the panelists, and instinctively I stated on your Facebook page that it would be nice if there was more diversity. However, my concerns about the lack of diversity was secondary to what I felt would be the substance of that forum. I didn't feel it would take away from anything because there wasn't diversity. I didn't see anything unfair or offensive regarding the event. That's why I became very concerned and disappointed when the event was canceled. My hope, and I stated that it was not canceled because of pressure from elected officials. I recognize that you, although you're appointed by parish and city officials, that you serve as the authoritative body of this library. In celebration of Sunshine Week, you and your staff schedule a public forum to discuss open government. Then I find that something interrupted that. The attempt by elected officials or in others to circumvent your authority as the board or your staff because they felt something negative would be said at that forum or that some government body would be criticized was wrong. In a democracy, government is open to public scrutiny. There should not be a concern of what may or may not be said at an open forum talking about government. My first reaction was bring it on. You know, if something is awry in any government, the public should know about it. Mr. Chairman, the Shreve Memorial Library should not have been influenced by somebody outside of this body who cared more about public perception than it did about the welfare of the public. The action that you took regarding cancellation, I feel, was a disservice to the citizens of Calabash.
Your time's up.
Mr. Settle, would you like to go next?
Am I the last?
You're next to last.
I'll be happy. Number one, I'm very disappointed by Ms. Griffin's immediate action or request to close this meeting. Let's think about this. We're here, and the first thing I hear this board member say, before we've even had a meditation, is she wants to go into executive session. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ms. Griffin, if you go into executive session, you'll have to have the police officer take me out, and then I'll be filing litigation this week to see what was covered to make sure you had the right to go into executive session.
And just
executive, if you're going to talk, I want to come out. Don't take my 3 minutes. Go ahead, ma'am.
Well, I just want for clarification, I asked the president, at what point can I move to close, to go into close?
For clarification, you're trying to close this meeting. And when you do, if you're successful, I will ask the parties why it was closed, what was discussed, and then I'll file litigation and name you individually and all of the board members, because I'm going to insist that y'all only go into executive session for the rules that are authorized by law. Secondly, I'm going to be here to make sure that the public records requests that have been made are complied with, or there will be litigation. This is the reality of where we are. I want you to know this right now. You have Mr. Barker here. You need to know that from now on, we're going to follow the rule of law. Thank you.
Mr. Trivio.
I think most of what I had to say has been covered. The consensus today on Forward Now, an article written by Willis Stonecipher, more or less, in my opinion, comes down to saying that government looks at public record requesters as critics and troublemakers. That's been my case in the past. Now, I did a poll on opinion because I sent Mr. Johnson an email, and in the email I said that the agenda was confusing to me. And he came back and he said that it was not confusing to him. I'm not going to go any further with that. I have an email group of 40 people. And those 40 people are called social and economics. And I sent them an email and I asked for an opinion. Out of the 40, 4 of them came back with a reply. And one of them said that item 9A stands out as confusing. The rest of the agenda, he understood it, and he made some comments about public written records. We'll go into that time short. The other one said, the public official elected said no, very, very vague. I guess my 3 minutes is up out there.
I think I want a few comments. They're all duly noted. Before we go on, I'm going to make a couple of comments myself. And regarding the cancellation of the withdrawal of our support for the sunshine bill. I actually found out that this forum was going on about 4 o'clock the previous afternoon. I talked to the director about it, and he and I together decided we would withdraw our support from it. The reason being, several reasons actually. The library depends on taxpayer support for our operation. we don't have the goodwill of the taxpayers, the taxpayers are not going to vote to give us their money. So we've got to keep the goodwill of the taxpayers. So I just looked up a few figures, and this forum did not represent the population of Carroll Parish or Shreveport City. Just out of curiosity, I looked. Shreveport has white population 41.2%, black or African American 54.7%. This is from the Census Bureau's 2010 census. Quick facts, not census.gov. Also, Shreveport Road has 53.2% female. As I understand it, the forum is all white, all male. So that does not represent the citizens of this parish.
That is not accurate. It was never all male. The female reporter from the Times was always included on it.
She is white.
Well, you said all male.
Okay, I stand corrected. All white. Most of them. We, the library, are not going to support or participate in any event that doesn't reflect well in our city and parish, or reflect well to reflect the people in this parish.
Your board doesn't reflect that. The composition of the board is not reflective of the parish population. That's a factual statement.
Point of order.
Can I interrupt you when you were speaking? One of the reasons that we really don't, that I considered also closing that, withdrawing our support, I can't find another piece of paper. If you look at our website, our calendar events, in March 2014, we're sponsoring 162 events. This is print out of the March calendar right here. So we have many events that are going on. In 2013, we sponsored 4,411 events. We have 125,456 people attending those events. So we do a lot with the component citizens of this parish. I have directed Dr. Eason to review our policy on what events to participate in, who plans and who approves these events, to make sure that something like this doesn't happen in the future. I can assure you that if I found out that prior to 4 o'clock the day before, I would cancel the center, cancel my participation in the center. And Dr. Eason has come up with some guidelines on how the library is going to proceed in sponsoring events. I know that you all think that we're evil people, we're wasting taxpayers' money, but I can assure you that if you would start coming to our board meetings and see what we actually do, maybe even volunteer to work in one of the libraries, one of the branches, and find out that we're not bad people. And we do a good job of being stewards of the taxpayers' money. So, that's my comment. And the next item on the agenda.
Okay, is this where we can,
Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. If anyone has a motion to make prior to the approval of the agenda, that's done.
I'd like to ask our attorney. Oh, is it proper protocol to at this point call for a closed board meeting to discuss some issues within the board member, and then reconvene our visitors, go into a closed board meeting, and then
I just wanted to comment and share. If in fact that does prevail, I would ask our consideration to proceed with our
regular meeting in that guests are here, but when detain them, if there's some concern that needs to be addressed in executive session, we will do so afterwards.
Just for your edification and everyone else's, Title 42, the statutes list some specific things that you can go into executive session for. Discussion of an employee, awarding a public contract, strategy sessions in respect to collective bargaining, discussion regarding security, investigating procedure, allegations of misconduct, cases of extraordinary emergency. So if your reasons fall in that category,
And fine.
okay, Title 42 also says that to go into executive session requires a unanimous vote.
So before I make my motion, can we get your attorney to explain? Can we go into executive session?
To discuss an employee?
Employees.
I don't believe so. In order to do that, there's a second provision in the public meetings law that says if you're going to have a meeting to discuss various components of an employee character performance, then you must give them at least 24 hours.
Okay, so.
And then it's up to the employee whether they want it to be open or an executive session.
So
we're not allowed to, we can't meet the 24-hour requirement via an amendment to the agenda.
So what made this closure different from the other closure we had around December, close board?
I didn't know I wasn't going to start from that here. Speak to
Well,
that.
you were here. You were at, what library were we at? In Walnut? That's the last time we closed board. Yeah, because you were here, you rendered a decision. Okay, so since it's different today, what I'd like to, express is, I too was, upset because the board name was used for a sponsored function, and the board had just met in February, and none of this was brought to, now I was not here, but I read all communication, and that was not on the agenda, so it was not a board approved function. Am I correct, board members? Did you all approve this? Did anybody, because if you have February agenda, did you all receive, because none of that was listed on the board agenda. So evidently, that decision was made within the employees.
I read it on an anniversary list of events scheduled.
Well, it was
a
not.
month before.
Yeah, well, it was not approved by the board, but I see that the board has to address the issue. And the reason why I wanted a closed board meeting, because I've always been assuming, instead of calling names out, we need to find out what really happened. Why we're here, which you all are welcome to come. But had we been notified properly, I didn't even get the whatever was sent out regarding the sunshine meeting. And I'm totally upset. And we're supposed to be accountable. And if you know anything about me, Mr. Settler knows me, I dot my I's and cross my T's. And I'm upset just like you all are. Because now, if there's anything, anytime from now on, and you need to express to the board, we welcome you. I wasn't shutting you all out. It's just that I wanted to find out from our employees what happened. I don't think any of the board members can raise their hand that they got this notice. And our secretary is supposed to send it to us.
It was in the Shreveport Times 1 week prior.
But the thing is, it was stated that it was a board-sponsored event. We didn't vote on it. It was never brought to us.
May I comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. In as much as incidents have occurred before, we as a board ask to be apprised of whatever is transpiring that concerns us. We'd rather not hear from the persons in the community as to what we are sponsoring and are doing without being knowledgeable. So it's a matter of if there's correspondence, I don't choose to go on the website, as we've said before. Send it info directly to each of us as a board member. We can deal with it if it merits meeting in concern that, then we'll do so. But to hear otherwise as opposed to direct, then I have opposition with that. And as Neil said, those are concerns that will be addressed. It's transpired now, we'll address future inactions.
I concur.
So do you want to make a motion?
Well, since the board attorney said that a motion is not for a closed board meeting, at this point is not acceptable. So I will keep a mental statement in my mind that no closed board meeting can occur without proper notification. Because for clarification, early fall, we had a closed board meeting. That's a practice we had. So since we washy with this, so we'll discuss. Let me ask the attorney another question. So how we're going to, what is the best way we can resolve this matter today about the Sunshine Week? Since employees were not notified, do we hold back and go through this again at our March or April meeting?
The director has come out with some new guidelines on how we sponsor different functions, and we'll be getting a copy of that.
The director or the board will have some.
Make a recommendation.
He's making a recommendation. Okay, I see.
Or enhance.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'll move that we continue with the agenda. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay, I wanted to ask you regarding the agenda. Did I ask you to put something on the agenda you said you would regarding the Sunshine Week and clarification as to what happened? We're not gonna discuss that and find out. I know that's what Gail was trying to get to in the closed session, but we weren't gonna, that wasn't something that we decided we did.
I sent it in writing, but I never did get any of my information back from staff regarding addressing this issue. So we do have some serious problems.
Did you get the statement I made? Did you come in after that?
I probably did, yeah.
I talked to you.
Thank you.
You have a motion on the floor?
Second, for approval of agenda.
Who made it?
You say
I made
it.
a motion to continue on with the agenda.
Yeah, you said-
No, that wasn't in a motion. I was just addressing to you.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Well, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February 3rd meeting.
Will we approve the agenda for February 3rd meeting?
Minutes.
Minutes. Second.
Second, we made comments.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from the February 3rd meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Motion approved. The next item on the agenda, really, see, the next item on the agenda is executive limitations and monitoring reports. And we have under A, financial conditions and activities, we've got 2 or 3 separate reports to the audience.
Okay, you were forwarded a copy of the monitoring report for executive limitations policy EL5, financial conditions and activities. The drill down is that we have compliance in all areas except for one area, and that's on the hiring of a, sorry. Jim, did you want to cover that?
I'm not sure what you want me to cover.
Okay, we have non-compliance on 2. So, and that's the library customers for unique management services. We were asking that we be able to go ahead and sign a contract with unique management for recovery of materials. Last month we talked about it only insofar as we were looking for your blessing, but we didn't ask you to actually pass it, so we couldn't proceed until you make the motion and pass this.
That's my fault. I should have picked up on you, he was asking for our permission to proceed with that.
So this is the group that is for materials that have been overdue for, and haven't been returned. And it's unique management services. They do a very friendly approach to the customers so that we don't alienate our customers, but at the same time we're being fiscally responsible and trying to bring back materials that are owned by the library. Everything from our books, CDs, DVDs, and computers that we're loaning at Cedar Grove.
That policy number is EL5?
EL5, yes.
Okay, I'd like to ask a question, please. I have a question. What you're saying is that, and I'm just leaving lay terms, okay? What you're saying, we're going to hire someone that's going to, for instance, a library book is out, or the computer that a child or something, you have someone to come and try to recruit those, and that's going to be how much?
They say I have 1,500 library customers nationwide, and it's for every, they have a return on investment of $4 for every dollar spent with the firm. So again, we're looking at getting back a larger supply of a share of our materials that have been loaned. So that's, it can vary according to how many we have outstanding. So it's an ongoing expense, but we're asking for approval.
This is not collecting fines, this is collecting materials that people check out and go back to us.
Okay, now I'll check out a book and that book torn up or something, or either computers checked out. You gonna collect that tore up book and do what?
Throw it away, probably.
Throw it away, huh?
It needs to be accounted for.
It'll be accounted for inventory.
It is public property.
Oh, okay.
As public property, we have to recover that public property and show it in our database that in fact it was recovered.
But don't we give it to the friends?
If it's still circulating, I mean, most of the books that are missing are things that are bestsellers currently. People think, oh, I can just keep this for another couple of years, and then they hold on to it. And, I think that nationwide there was just a book that was returned that was 60 years overdue. So we want to be a little bit more proactive than that.
Is that the one where they put the lady in jail?
I don't know if they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to tell y'all about that. They actually did put a lady in jail behind a book.
But we don't want anybody in jail. We just want the materials back.
Okay, I can understand, because I know we have to be accountable for the public money, so
yes.
No, I just need the explanation on that.
Okay, so we need a motion to authorize the library to enter a contract with unique management services.
I move that we do. Okay. We need to be accountable. Everybody watching it.
You have motion forms under your agenda. And if you don't mind writing your motion down.
Okay, sweet baby, I'll do that.
A reminder, Robert's rules says all but the simplest motions.
Okay. I move that we hire the firm.
Unique management.
Unique management firm, okay. Is it 10,000? You got it right.
Well, no, the maintenance is another issue.
That's not
Three issues. It depends on how many we have.
Oh, it's kind of how many? Oh.
But they have been averaging a $4 return on every dollar invested.
And can our budget allow for this, Jim?
Yes.
Motion by your motion, is there a second?
It was, yeah.
Abstention?
She said.
Does everybody understand the motion? Let's just go ahead and vote on it. Watch it behind you. All in favor? Sorry, question, Jim?
I just wanted to make a comment. Obviously, this company is not gonna deal with this $2 book, $3 book. They usually set some kind of a minimum limit of what a person owes and have not returned or needs to pay for or return. So they usually set that, and that's in the thing. So we're not going to go after every single book, obviously, because it's not practical from their standpoint to do that. We, of course, try to give it back and try to notify the patrons if they're overdue. And I just want to make that clear.
So what they will assess a cost as they go?
Excuse me?
They'll assess a cost that's comparable to recovery as they go?
Ron, is that the case? That
Yes,
they're
it's
gonna
on a
assess,
monthly bill. If you submit 100 items, then you can roll for 100 items on their collection rate.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
may I ask the question that is in my mind from the beginning? With that said, with what you pay the collection person and the losses, is that going to benefit the library? Is it going to equal out, or is it any way that you can say how much?
The only figures we have are that their national average from the 1,500 libraries that they serve is a $4 return for every dollar you spend.
Okay, now what are we paying the collection agent?
We're not paying anything right now. We're not.
It's
we're
only when items are
passed.
sold. Okay.
And we make the decision of which items we submit for collection. For example, a laptop, we're going to go after it.
Yeah.
If it's a paperback copy of Michael Vey, probably not. But or if they have 600 books in their, we're going to definitely go after it. So it's a matter of finding the budgetary limit and then saying this is what we're going to see.
I'm just trying to see that this is not just this person being paid a salary.
Right. This is a firm, and their methods are very customer friendly. They never get nasty with the customers. They don't give the 2 o'clock in the morning calls. They are strictly friendly. They want to make sure that even though they are recovering materials from the customer, we keep them as a library patron.
So
that's the first goal.
So Dr. I'm sorry.
Okay, even though I made the motion, I'm still for it. But anyway, don't we have to audit check and see how many lost items we have, and they average it by money? If the library, like Shreve Memorial Library, have lost so many items, like, oh, let's say $20,000 worth, don't we have to be accountable to say, well, we had this person, had this company to recover, because that's on the audit thing, isn't it?
Yes.
They're gonna ask us, what did we do to lose 20,000?
One of the things
I can see that's a check and balance thing for me, I would say.
One of the things on the internal audit that they suggested is that we actively go after more of our borrowers who are not returning their items. So.
Okay, I know the motion has already been made and seconded, but I have questions such as, have we looked at how much money we're and I think I asked this question before, but I don't remember an answer. Do we know how much money we're losing as a result of non-recovered items, as opposed to, and compare that with how much we'll be spending to recover these items, and whether or not it's cost effective for us, for our library, not looking at other libraries, but whether or not it's cost effective for our library. And is this something that we can't handle here within Shreve Memorial Library ourselves? And I think I've come up with that before.
You want to respond?
Are you waiting for a
I think Jim is
response?
ready.
I'm waiting for answers.
From who? The director?
As far as, can we handle it ourselves, you know, we check out more than 1 million items a year. And, you know, we have to have a method of trying to get them, I think, and I'm not going to be able to quote just this fact, but I think typically when you send your first notice that about 6% of your material has not been returned, either right then or before then, has not been returned. And usually that gets down to, and I don't know what the exact figure is, after several tries, it gets down to about, usually, and this is just general, not specific to our library, not specific to XYZ library, but just generally, they have suggested that you get down to about 1% of, or 2% of non-returns that 6 months later has not been returned, and that's what we would be working on with this group. Can we do more ourselves? In my opinion, it's probably not practical to try to do more. I mean, you can send a third notice, a fourth notice, or something like that, but the cost of those tends to start adding up against what you actually get back at that point.
How did we come out in our amnesty provision? What was the rate of returns?
I don't know
Was
that
it
we
not
ever
implemented?
considered a rate of return on that. You know, that does have an effect on getting materials back, which is our first goal, not necessarily charging fines, but getting the material back. I don't know if Ron has anything else to say about that.
We had some figures, but the lady who has those is not with us today. I apologize.
Since you're next.
I was going to say that in the school system, students who owe money for books or who do not return the books they have checked out, they never get a report card. So it's usually in May when all of the books come in, because the mamas and the daddies look for them everywhere in the house. At an age of computers, when we know so much about technology, can we come up with some method that the students will not be allowed to check out any more books if they still have books that have no returns? It seems to me like we could do something like that.
Well, that is the case. If they have something checked out and they don't return it, their fines accrue, and once they are $3 or more, they can't check out.
2 or more? Well,
No,
maybe we
$3
need,
or more.
maybe that's not enough. Maybe we, $2, well, some people would rather pay the $2 than having to find the book. Maybe what we need to do is to raise the amount of money. I don't know, but we should be able to find a way ourselves to be responsible for our books. After all, they're very high. And every time we have to buy or to replace the books that are lost.
Well, they are blocked. So after 6 months, they're charged for the cost of that book, whether it be $15 or $30, and they have to either return the book or they have to pay the fines before they can check out again.
My questions weren't answered. My questions weren't answered.
It was the area first.
I'll just go on and address Ms. Lynch's problem. But your questions were referred to the director.
I just wanted to know if we know how much money we're losing for non-returnables. How much money we're losing. I would prefer to see it in writing, and how much it's costing us potentially to utilize the service.
which is basically my question.
Yes,
Is it
it's
cost
the
effective?
same question
I
I asked.
don't like to vote, I'm not, I need, you know, I need
Okay, let me,
to know.
I'm
I
gonna
need to
send
know
my
before I
vote.
vote.
Okay, can I do another?
He hasn't.
Can I, we got a second to, can I, send my vote and just say that we're postponing my motion until we get the information, the backup information?
That was work for me.
Okay, somebody second, I mean, y'all want, can I do
Since you
that?
seconded, you concur.
You still, you concur with me?
Yeah, I do.
You had to be the person
I
who
do.
seconded, okay.
Okay, my motion, I'd like for the director and staff to come up with a rubric and bring back to the board at the next board meeting. This is what we're gonna ask the company to do. Okay, if they recover a book for $4, are we gonna be paying the company $2 of that $4 that we recover, or is it $1? I think we have to be more specific so that the company will know what we want them to do. So, Dr. Heason, is this company local? Is this somebody you know? Is it somebody out of Texas, Oklahoma, New York City, or, because I've never heard of this company, and
They are national. I don't know anybody in the company, but I know libraries that are using them. They
Okay.
speak very highly of their services and of their way of doing
is
it.
Bossier using them?
I don't know.
Okay,
That's
well, maybe
what
we
we
can
asked them
find out from a system close to us that we know, and then we can learn from that.
Backup information.
Yeah,
There's a motion on the floor.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Leeson, have we thought of bringing in the Friends of the Library, who spent over $10,000 last year on the tax projects? And those are a group of people who really love and care about the library. Maybe they will be willing to help out, but maybe doing the job themselves or paying for part of the fee. I would like for us to bring in the Friends of the Library.
When we last approached the Friends of the Library, Ms. Smith, we were told that their main goal is to do a book sale. They didn't really want to participate in other programs of the library. They wanted to work on a book sale. The president is here, he can tell you.
That is true. Because of the dedication to the organization, their goal is to raise money to give to the branches to through the sale of the books that have been donated to the library or have been removed from the collection of the library. Our Friends organization is comprised of probably about 75% elderly individuals who they feel that their commitment was to handle these 2 annual sales, which ours is coming up on April the 12th and 13th. And then after that is finished, then they will ascertain as to how much is going to be allocated to the branches individually.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The company is headquartered in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
I still think my motion can, all this, what we asking for, they just come back next month with, you know, the questions that we ask, and information.
I'd like consideration being given with limits toward the customer.
We can't afford it.
Pull their fingernails out of it.
Not this time. Not our purple.
Yeah, you have a motion on the floor.
Well, my statement again was maybe to you. So, a lot of the board members stated things before I stated, so I don't know. I can tag something in on what Dottie, yeah, that we set up a roof. Where's your, would that be acceptable to you, Mr. President?
She's writing it down.
You made a motion.
And then she pulled it.
You pulled it?
Yeah, she can have it. Not seconded.
No, you made a motion to direct Dr. Reason to,
Okay, let's do this. I was asking you for what would be best, but I can put it in a motion directing the director to set up a director and staff to set up a rubric and bring it back to us at the next board meeting. The do's and don'ts that we want the company to take care of. Would that be acceptable to you?
Fill out your motion request, please.
Let me get it to that.
Yeah, but I had another motion to it. My motion was that to postpone it until we get the more information about the things that we asked about, that Dolores had asked about. And,
Wait till this motion is disposed of, I don't want to do this.
yeah, okay, and but she can, yeah.
Okay, Mr. President, how, and,
Tell you a minute.
okay,
You rescinded your motion and
made another.
I said, okay, so you got what you need.
Yeah, but it's the same as yours.
So let's just carry it.
So you're rescinding any motion?
Well, we were dealing with Dottie, but I'm gonna make mine. Right?
No, we need to have it one at a time.
Yeah, that's what we just finished, Dottie.
Are you making a motion or not?
I will make a motion.
Please do.
Okay, and
Hers is disposed.
well, hers already disposed. She just did.
I thought she said she made another motion.
I did make another motion.
Oh, what's your number? Well, here, what is it?
No, I just said I rescinded, and then I said my new motion will be to postpone the vote. I mean,
Until next
until
board
we
meeting?
get more information about the cause, what we've lost, and all of that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. And I can add the rubric to yours also, to that too. That's the one I said.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that, now you have to write that down, please.
Oh, Jesus.
Levita, you second it,
You have confused me with motions, I'm not sure what's on the floor on this one.
Oh, brother. Well, she write it down for me. Got my name. Okay, we get it together.
Okay.
We're gonna vote on it? Okay. Okay.
Let's get it biased, I don't know what we're voting on.
Oh, you need to what we're voting on?
I don't know what we're voting on.
You want to amend her motion to bring back specifics in the consideration?
She got me down.
Or
making
you're
that.
forego?
I think she forego. I think she going with mine.
I'm gonna go with hers.
Thank you. Okay.
You accepted my friendly amendment, right?
I
for the
really will,
rubric?
good Gail.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
I'll
Jesus.
just add it in hers. So,
Yours today.
It's yours again. Come on.
all right, let me repeat what the motion is
Please.
for clarification. Ms. Bell moved that the director and his staff set up a rubric. Rubric to provide to the company, UMS company, with our do's and don'ts in a recommendation to the board to take action at our March meeting or April meeting? May meeting.
To be considered,
To be what?
Consider it.
to be considered.
And who seconded it?
She seconded it. And she right
Okay,
there.
it's been moved and seconded that the board direct the director and staff to set up a rubric to provide to the company, which is Unique Management Services, our requirements and recommendations to the board to consider it and may be.
I don't know what this number is, also we need to have the dollar figure.
Dollar figures.
Regarding how much the library is spending, I don't think that has to be, there has to be a formal motion, or you need to add it to it.
Add it to it.
But we need that dollar amount that we are spent losing, and how much we would potentially be spending.
Okay. All right, moved and seconded one more time. That the director board is going to direct the director of staff to set up a book and provide to the company new management services, our requirements and our recommendations to the board. Consider it at our May meeting. To also include financial figures in regards to costs on those benefits. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all of my report. I think the finance committee had a recommendation for budget adjustment.
Finance committee meeting met last week to discuss 2 budget adjustments, one for mold remediation analysis, and another budget adjustment for a strategic plan facilitator. We met and discussed both of these. There were still some questions. Some of the questions were answered at the meeting, some I think have been answered since then, but there were still some questions. From the Finance Committee meeting, I want to give everyone an opportunity to ask those. I will say that the Finance Committee did vote unanimously to recommend the passage of the budget adjustment for mold remediation analysis to the board. And the Finance Committee also moved unanimously for the board to make the budget adjustment for the strategic plan facilitator.
Okay, I'm on the finance committee and I've met. Did we get a,
Yeah, we looked at it now.
huh?
Yeah. They sent it to us.
It's sent to you electronically and in paper form.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got it electronically, I didn't know it. Did the board get it?
Yeah, yeah, right here.
Okay, so, I did ask questions. We have a mold problem. And of course, we're going to have to, address the mold problem. And, we were requested to have a $10,000 budget adjustment in order to address this. Now, the director was not here that day to answer some pertinent questions. There are some questions that we have listed there, and I know that there might be some that you have on top of those questions, but that kind of narrows it down to questions that you don't have to, questions that are already been posed. I did make the motion to make the budget adjustment, and that the, director feels that that's what needs to be done, and I know something has to be done, but I would like to also have those questions answered along with any others that might be posed, so that the board, so that you can make, we can make a better decision based on the answers that we didn't have before.
Excuse me, Doris, the questions were answered in writing on the information that we received.
Okay.
We had your questions and the response to each of the questions. It's in the memo.
Okay, I got, okay.
Okay. So, something came to my mind, and I would like to propose it to the board and see what you think. I talked to Jim about it.
I didn't get the minutes back.
Before this meeting. Don't you think it would be, Dr. Houston, a good idea for us to write a memo to all of the branches directing the managers to look around the libraries to see if they can detect some mold? You can smell it. And just like we found it on the 4th floor of this building, it would be a good idea to let the libraries know what is going on over here. Because, it's a dangerous problem. We could be, if we don't detect it, we could be in real trouble. Because children who go to the library and use the same computer area, if mold is found, And now that we know it, I think that we need to be proactive and instruct our library manager to have everybody looking for it. They may not find anything, but at least we will have the legal documentation of having acted upon it.
Do we have, Mr. President, do we have any litigation regarding this mold situation that Dr. Heason might know about?
No.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make my comments. I think that's a well-needed, that's money well invested, because I have used the third floor many years, and I've seen this like, what's it called, Jim? Over the air-conditioned vent. And that was due, from my understanding, was due to the condition of the old air-conditioned unit we had. We've since purchased that and cleared up all that, but I was not aware that this was still occurring. So we need to see why we still have this problem. Because now it's been dealt with for, I know, a good 10 years or so.
I understand, Gail, that in some old buildings, and we have a few of them, that mold can come up at any time.
But it's got to be some water coming from somewhere, right? That's
the pipes break, and the low temperature that we had in January, it happened to me personally, so I'm well informed on this. The pipes burst, and the humidity produced by the water developed into the mold.
So is it in, Dr. Heason, is it in the pipes, the wall, the
This
ceiling?
building was built 100 years ago and has no vapor barriers in the walls.
Okay.
So we have moisture coming through the walls. It was never intended as a library.
From rain.
Libraries should have a maximum of 46% humidity to preserve materials. Maximum. We run about 80% humidity in this building. When you have humidity levels at that point, you're asking for mold infestation. What we really need to, and the biggest concern right now is not even really the books, because a lot of those are now available digitally, but it's a microfilm of the historic Shreveport collections that will be destroyed if we don't get them protected. But since we've had mold remediation, in the time that I've been here, we brought in Clean Air Louisiana to do a mold remediation. I got it taken care of. We went through and tested. There was no mold left. And now it's active again, thanks to Mary Canfield found it. If she hadn't been actively looking for things like that, we might have missed it. So we've got this, we know it's there, but at this point, rather than just calling in a remediator, we want to call in an archivist and preservationist who can look at our materials and say, this is what you need to do.
But you don't have that archivist in here.
Well, it's for
Is
mold
that additional
remediation
money?
analysis. No, that's the first step.
Oh, so you're gonna bring back some more information?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha.
So right now, all we need to do is an assessment. We have to figure out what we need to do, because we don't have experts. Well, Brittany's pretty much an expert in most everything, but Brittany has not been able to tell us exactly what we need to do, and we're looking to bring in somebody to give us a spelled out plan to say this is what you have to do to take care of this mold issue.
So, Dr. Heason, the minutes are very plain, but I'm hearing more from you today. So, when that remediation analysis, assessment of what our needs are, you going to bring that back to us for additional consideration?
Well, if it depends on what we're told we have to do.
So what are they offering just for the $10,000?
That's just an estimate. We have no idea. We have to go out for bid, but we can't go out for bid if we don't have the money approved in our budget.
Okay, so they're not gonna, it could be under 10,000 or not to exceed 10,000?
Well,
because I'm gonna support this if it does not exceed $10,000 until we get more information.
We took a stab in the dark. We think that's a reasonable amount, but I don't know that we're going to get a response for that price.
So
until we go out for bid, we don't know.
So
This is a problem.
No,
You
no,
just
I
want to-
know, but we just can't give money away unless we know what that company is going to do.
Even if it's more
So
than
do you
$10,000.
have a packet that the company provided to
We
you?
have not
what
even
they
talked
did?
with the company
Oh.
because that's what we're looking for.
What we're looking for, yeah.
We need to get approval so we can get, send out an RFP.
Oh, so we're just reaching out there right now.
At this point, we were looking to figure out what's going on. Now, you're gonna see a presentation in a little bit. Mary's got a PowerPoint to show us about mold and
So Dr. Heason, wouldn't it, well, of course, the Finance Committee already moved it, but the final is here. Wouldn't it have been feasible if you and staff had presented to the Finance Committee what this company can offer and how much they're going to pay?
There's no company on there, baby.
But I know, reach out to a company. I understand, I know.
We have to go out on bids to find out what they're gonna do and how much
Okay,
it'll cost.
so, that goes back to this, Neil. What is staff gonna ask? There's nothing in here that I see what they're gonna ask when they go out to bid. I mean, if he wants the committee to vote just to be able to go out on bid, yes. But I need to know, what is it we're asking the company to bid out? Is it something that could wait until May, Dr. Heason?
no. It's aggressive and it's active.
Well, I mean, I don't know what $10,000.
I believe I read a report
buy
through
or
an
something.
LSUS library that Shreve Memorial has asked a committee to deacquisition a large part of the historical holdings of the library to LSUS. If you're going to do that, why spend money redundantly?
It doesn't include everything, sir.
But I mean, if you're going to clear out a large portion of the unique historical collection, that may free up space.
But that's not all that's here in this building.
Chris?
The Finance Committee has a recommendation before the board to make the proposed budget adjustment. The one is the $10,000 for the analysis of the mold remediation, and the second is the proposed budget adjustment for the strategic plan facilitator.
Now, Neil, I'm gonna move, I already know I'm gonna vote on this, but the strategic plan facilitator, Dr. Heason, what, is this what staff normally do?
No, this is what Sandra Nelson did for us 4 years ago.
Oh, so we want Sandra back?
No, we're opening it to whoever wants to apply. So we need someone to facilitate the progress.
And that is costing $35,000.
That's based on what we paid Sandra Nelson. We don't know what it will be bid.
Okay, now, with this here, this was a professional development that Sandra did with staff, what, doing gym administration?
There was, I think, two things that Sandra Nelson did, like 4 or 5 years
Okay, now
ago.
where I'm going with this, Jim, before you give me a response, if I'm not mistaken, this was professional development for staff.
I think that was,
Sandra,
there were two parts of hers, the original plan.
I know
and
she
then there
did
was
staff.
some development afterward that was an
Okay.
additional charge.
So whoever she presented, whatever we paid her, I think was $50,000, where's the evaluation? Because I know an evaluation was done on her performance. Now, I'm not saying she's the one we're going to get, but we can look back at those evaluations because some people weren't too happy with it. So, I guess we can't find the evaluation, right? Nobody seemed to know what happened.
We brought an evaluation to a meeting at which you were not present.
But what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
We brought the evaluation to a meeting at which you were not present.
Okay, so you should still have my copy, right?
Should be.
Okay, thank you.
Can we dispose of this issue, please?
That's more than a year, those people.
go on for
No, they don't, they have files for her. Did you have a file for her?
Susan?
I wanted to clarify on the mold situation, we are not actually going out for bid for that amount of money. All we're doing is going to some experts and kind of getting an idea of how much money, so we can just do the analysis to find out. The fix of the mold problem is gonna be a phase 2, and it's gonna be a lot more money than $9,000 something dollars. We will get 3 quotes. We will not go out for bid.
It's on the second page.
We'll have to go out for bid for the repair work, because the amount of money will be such that we'll be required to go out for bid. But to get the expert to tell us the analysis of what needs to be done, we won't be going out for bid.
Now, that's clarity, because I know there are many persons who, there has to be a consultation fee when they come on board to see what the problem is. So that gives validity to it, because trying to assess a fee without knowing what the problem is isn't feasible.
That's a set aside money to pay for an expert to tell us.
That's right.
That's right, it's an expensive consultation fee, but
When they find them, we'll
need
put the money gonna come up.
to check with several sources to see, to even compare consultation fees. Experts in that area.
It is, it's on this.
Okay.
On the answers.
I hope we're talking about that.
Second page.
Motion to dispose it.
My
But I
motion
didn't
would
get
be
that in
that
the
we
mail, I
would
just got it.
procure 2 to 3 consultation fees to come in and look at our situation.
Well, we need to approve, not approve the finance committee report first.
There are 2 different entities, because I needed specifics on the $35,000 professional services, so I just want to make a motion on them individually. We can
Neil,
move
that
for
would
acceptance
take
of
a
your
separate
report, or we
motion,
can
I
dispose of the issues with the motion.
No.
The motion is on the floor, though, for the approval of their recommendation. But then
Of
since
both
it comes from a,
recommendations?
since it comes from a committee, it doesn't need a second.
Yes.
Okay, so I understand what Gail was saying. I had to find my question, I had to find that question with the answer. How long have we known about the mold problem? And we've known about it for approximately 2 months. So it looks like that's time to have begun looking at people who could tell us how much it would cost to assess this, to make an assessment of how much it's gonna cost and what is needed within the last 2 months, but nothing has been done yet.
We were waiting on board approval.
That's right, I just said.
Oh, you don't have to wait on a board approval to go out and get estimates.
Yes, you do, baby. I'm telling you, you need to wait on board, because you have to pay somebody.
No, it's just an
They need to,
estimate.
look, they need, what I'm seeing is that you need to bring that to our attention, for one thing. And then when they, that's right, you need to bring to attention that we have mold problems. Number 2, that's gonna be a question, why did y'all go, you know how, why did you go out and look without us knowing about it? You know the truth is the truth, so the best thing they doing is follow the policy, go out and then come back 2 months. And then, we have to prove for them to go out and get somebody to look.
Okay.
It's happening all over the city, mold problems.
Okay, I know that before the board voted on something, it has been brought to the table that this is how much money we're going to need in order to fix this. And then the board votes on a particular amount.
Exactly.
That's usually how it,
Yes.
most often how it has happened.
Point well taken.
And I felt the same way.
Okay, the finance committee report is on the floor. We need to
Ask
approve
the other
this.
question.
Yes, sir.
Just
Any
read the
questions?
plan after that. We don't get it.
Sir?
Any further questions?
Are you gonna take a motion to accept this, 2 separate motions, or the whole package deal?
The committee report does not need a motion. So we vote to approve it or not?
I need clarification on the professional services.
Well, I'm gonna delay, oh, I'm sorry.
Would that be a board decision on whether or not we want to split it or do it as a, consent, I'm just asking.
Yes.
It's 2
Part
different,
or
yeah.
group. But I just need clarification, because the vote may go, but I need, who would address that?
That, the 35,000 is for the facilitator. That was again the amount we paid Sandra Nelson just for facilitating the completion of the strategic plan. So we think that's a pretty good estimate, because that's what Sandra charged us. So we want to go out, we have a list of, I think, again, the lady who's been working on this, our associate director for support services and planning. Her dad is in the hospital in Arkansas. She couldn't be here today. She has some numbers that normally we would have for you, but I think she's got 12 different vendors that we'd be sending out a request proposal to, and hopefully they'll come in less than the 35, but we thought 35 is a good estimate based on what Sandra Nelson charged us. So it's a facilitator for the strategic plan, which is your ends policy.
So to summarize, we've got to set aside some money to hire this facilitator, assuming we're going to do that. And if no bids come in under that, they're going to have to come back, to the board to approve the money. For 35,000 or less, we'll come back to the board to approve it.
Mr. President, I'm gonna, since you want a package deal vote on this, I cannot support it today because of lack of information. But if it's brought back thoroughly and more detailed at the May meeting, I give you my support for that. But right now, with the limited amount of information, I can't support it. And I know the committee has worked real hard.
But if I may,
That's
we are not discussing a beautification project.
my decision stands.
This is a must.
Yeah.
We must handle the problem. Whether it's going to cost $10,000 or $20,000.
Well, the majority always rules, so that's my stand.
Judge, yes, some say.
The financial report approved. No.
No, because we don't know.
Not yet.
No, we need to do that
Okay.
first.
Financial report,
Yeah, nay.
committee report, all in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Any opposed?
Nay.
Vader?
I approve the report, but these, the items need to be voted individually.
Okay, you approve the report?
Yes.
Then do you approve the report?
Is that the report the assistant CFO sent with the blueprint out? Because I know some of us are getting some things and some of us are not.
He got the committee report here.
Committee report.
Oh, the finance committee report.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said financial report. I was wondering what.
Finance committee report.
This report here.
Okay,
These two items.
but if we accept the report, Mr. President, that's accepting this, right? Okay, that's, I said I'm gonna delay my vote on that.
That's an abstain or no?
So you're,
Abs-
I'm voting no if we're doing the whole thing. If we're doing them separately, then I wish to vote for the whole part.
Mr. President, may I make a suggestion so we can move this agenda?
I believe we're done with this.
No, we're not, we didn't take a vote on it.
This meeting was just done.
What is the vote, how does the vote change?
Madam Secretary, how to vote?
Well, Dolores said no, and you abstained, is it?
No, well, I thought we were just discussing.
Okay, Madam.
There's no vote yet,
Mr. President,
Yes,
we
everyone voted.
accept the report.
You said, he said say aye and then say aye.
No, they didn't.
I accept the report, but I don't accept I accept receiving the report per se,
That the report is accurate.
yes, but not the actions of
The accuracy
yeah.
of the report.
The accuracy, but not the expenditure of those funds per se.
And
So
I
you did not
asked,
accept the report.
and I asked the president,
With the contingency if he doesn't want to split up.
and I asked the president,
I move that the report be accepted, but the financial recommendations be voted on individually.
I know, Kathy, I know, because I don't have enough information.
Did we just not vote to approve the committee report?
Yes, there was a majority, I believe. Do it again.
There were three no's.
Okay, you
No,
know
I
what?
say no too because I want
I
to
said
separate
no.
it.
I didn't catch your no.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a vote.
It was
We're gonna vote
confusing.
again.
Let's go again, let's go again.
We're gonna vote again.
Raise your hand
All in favor, raise your right hand.
in favor.
In favor.
I have a question.
That's not, question.
Chris, you made the motion?
Did you call for the question?
Who made the
Question, I
motion
call for
to
question.
accept
Well,
it?
it's a committee report, it doesn't need a motion.
That's right.
Well, that's Dr. Houston and somebody else's decision.
That's, this a committee report, does not need a, but what she said was to separate the issue, the two, proposals, to vote on
We've
separate.
already voted on it.
No, we vote on the report as a whole. Okay, no, I know what you're right. Okay, okay. What we need to do is, I say no to that till we.
1, 2, 3, 4 in favor?
4 favor, 4 votes.
4 yes. 4 nay.
There's not,
4 in favor. Joe, Ascension, Chris, and Neil.
Yeah.
So it's a tie, so what happens?
I
If
believe
we don't, that's
passed.
it.
Maybe tires passed.
I think if we had some questions answered, we might feel more comfortable about this. But did we call for the question?
I asked to separate it
Just
out.
voted.
I mean, did we,
Twice.
okay, we called for the question, we voted. Did we finish our discussion? Because I wanted to ask, Dr. Heaton was not here during the finance committee. So I wanted to ask a question about the, yeah, the professional services.
Okay.
Okay. But, I know we have to pay someone to do this. So, if I recall before, and correct me if I'm wrong, we had figures, we had more than one person to choose from, and we made a decision based on the figures of the people that, of the different people that we could choose from, along with how much it would cost for them to.
But we had an amount in our budget for strategic planning. We don't have an amount in the budget for strategic planning, so we can't go out and talk to people until we have the
Okay,
amount.
I'm with you.
We don't have, it's not in there, this budget.
We haven't talked with people because we can't legally talk to them.
Okay.
When we did last time, we had folks, and Sandra's normal price on this would have been $72,000.
So you'll bring this back to the board after you.
Well, we need the person to begin because we already have established, we approved our strategic planning commission last year. And they're sitting there waiting to have their first meeting, and we can't have their first meeting until we have a facilitator.
She resigned.
Well, no, we just, I think that, everybody's looking for different blood from Sandra Nelson, so we're looking to bring in some different.
And nobody at the table has told me that they remember seeing her evaluation. Nobody's said, I've asked around the table, nobody said.
We didn't evaluate Sandra per se, we evaluated the strategic plan.
Oh, okay. I thought you said we evaluated
Well, no,
Sandra.
we evaluated the actions.
Okay, because okay, I'm good then, I remember that. Okay, so, and I think what Gail was asking for was was there an evaluation?
Yes, and even if I was not here, Dr. Heason, I still would have received it in the mail. So, what I'm asking is, I was on a granted leave last year, but because I was on a leave, that did not prevent me from not reading my information, and I do read everything. So, I'd like to see that evaluation about Ms. Nelson's performance, how the staff, how she maneuvered with staff, so that I can base my decision on the strategic facilitator for next time.
Was there an evaluation? I know the board didn't see one.
Not of her personally, but of the actual outcomes that came from our strategic plan. Brittany prepared it and actually gave a presentation at a board meeting. When was that? Cindy gave it, did you prepare it? Is that correct?
Not the one that she did.
Dr. Hisa,
Okay.
every professional development workshop that SML have had, employees evaluate. I've been to a lot of them. I've seen them. I've seen it in their packet. So I know that you all have it.
We had an evaluation after she did our strategic, or our.
Okay, but that's what we wanna see, just,
Our supervisor's
you have.
workshop, that was not the strategic plan. She did 2 different functions for us, each with a different bill. When she did the strategic plan.
well, just send us what you have. Whoever she did it to or for.
Cindy, I guess Cindy and who? Cindy, we'll ask Catherine when she gets back from her.
And what's her name? Cindy might even have a copy of it or something. Because she's pretty thorough with it.
She did a lot of cleaning out of her office after she retired. I don't know what she kept and what she didn't. So.
Okay, let's get back to the subject. Okay, I'm looking at Robert's rules and we're tied vote. The motion fails. So the committee report is not accepted. So how do we want to deal with it?
Okay, now Neil, this is what, since
You're
it,
talking, so keep talking. Keep talking.
just calm down, Neil, so we can, I just wanna work this out, so.
Well, other people might want to talk, indeed.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. Go
I
ahead.
want us to work this out, especially because of this mold problem. We gotta go through, may I take my vote?
We need to go,
No,
we need to
it
get
fails, so
most
we
stuff
can
taken
do it
care of.
individually if we put a
Okay,
motion.
okay. Put that, can she put that motion on the floor?
But there's gonna do it.
We can, I think if I'm, if I'm not mistaken, she can put that motion on the floor to do it separate if all of us vote for it now. I'm
But
thinking.
she can do it because she voted no.
She trying to get it to separate each
Yeah,
one
but she
of them.
voted no, so she
Yeah, that's
can
what
do
you
it.
make your motion.
Yeah.
Make the motion.
And all of them, yes, or whatever.
Mr. Chair, I move that we separate the proposals and a vote be required for each of them.
I second that.
Please write it.
Get it. Get it.
She moved to separate the proposals and what?
And vote on the
Separate
separate.
proposals and vote on them separately.
And I second it.
Separate proposal 4 and 5. You want
Okay,
what it
so
is?
mold remediation
No,
estimates
separate
for
is 4 and 5.
Vote on it. I second it, now it's up for motion. Okay, yes, I know you forget,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we separate the finance committee report, 2 proposals, and vote on them separately. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Good.
opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Okay,
So,
make the motion.
do we have a motion on mold remediation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Say it.
You calling for the motion? I mean, for the vote or motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Well, they already separated, so
No, but take each one, and now we move that we do the mold.
I move that we pursue the building maintenance, which is inclusive of mold remediation investigation.
Second that. Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we pursue the building,
Certificate of mold remediation issue.
building maintenance part of that, including mold remediation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Now we're down to the facility.
You made it, you're gonna do that.
I move that we approve the budget adjustment for the strategic plan facilitator.
Is there a second?
Okay. God would like a second. God would like a second.
Motion dies for lack of second.
Will that be written? Because I didn't catch that.
Forms there somewhere.
It's some more forms in there. Yeah, leave it.
At this mill, the same, the publication that sent out for job descriptions for employees to research to see what the responsibility is for each, I guess we just check with HR to see what each employee is responsible for.
You lost me, how do we get there from
It's just only, you talking about that.
Oh, we're through with that.
No.
What
We're
else?
still on there, baby.
There's a motion to pay on, is there any other comments?
That's for like a second.
Yeah,
Is there
so
any
we move
comment
on.
about
About the facilitator?
About the
Yeah.
facilitator?
Like
I
a second.
do, because I know we need to do something, but I feel that we're putting the cart before the horse, and that we need to have some names and costs for facilitators and be able to vote on that. So that's gonna, I know that will move that's probably gonna move whatever the plans are a little back, for back, if we, a little further if we don't vote on it today. But I feel that we should not be asked to vote for an amount and we don't know who we're getting and we don't know how much we're paying. I don't think it's fair to ask that. So I was thinking we would have that information today.
And that
That's why I
goes back
was,
to my
that's why I was
question,
for it at the
the
committee meeting, because I
responsibilities
thought we
of
would
that
get it
person.
today.
Talking about the general, but the responsibilities for that particular
Yeah.
job description.
Okay, I see your point.
That would be on an
But
HR.
Largely, we're gonna be in a position where we're going to ask people to give us bids, being a facilitator. We don't know how much we can pay you. We don't know what, we want you to tell us
Okay.
what you're gonna do.
Okay.
So we
When
want-
they look at the job description, what they
Okay.
expected.
Okay, can we put something in place whereby we approve up to a certain amount? No? Is that, but,
Just let it all come to you. But I mean, you
okay,
can go on
okay,
with your.
I'm just trying to work with, I'm trying to work on both sides of the fence, but I know that, I know how it should be. It should come to us with the names and the amounts, and we,
And what we expect in the description. That's it. We can do that, can't we? We can do it.
Jim?
When we go out for a proposal, it's not a bid, proposal, for instance, this is services. In a formal process with the city, we have to indicate how much we estimate this might cost us, and that amount is then encumbered as they go for proposal. Now, you can, I guess, informally talk to some, quote, people who might want to submit a proposal, but that's more difficult to work with, and then you start getting into this, well, am I going to be favored because I gave you this information or whatever. It really was to establish the budget, to go out and get proposals and then find out that they come back within the range we had set with the city, and that's what we were trying to do here.
okay.
So,
So we're gonna get proposals.
well, what I'm saying is that when we go out to the formal proposals, we have to tell the city how much money we got, and they're gonna look up and say, okay, you've got that much in that category budget to do it. And that's sort of commitment. It doesn't commit us to absolutely spending that amount or selecting somebody under that amount, and that, but it does, and that's part of the problem with trying to go and, just say, go out and contact a bunch of people, and then you turn around and right after that try to go out and get formal proposals from them in a quality and competitive process to do that.
Okay, I guess the problem is that it's being approached differently this time than it was before. Right?
Well, last time we had it in the budget, previous year, we said next year we're gonna have to hire a planner. This year, we would already propose the budget when we decided then on a process. So we didn't realize we were gonna be going out looking for a facilitator. So now we're just adjusting the budget line, so when the city says you can't spend this money now because you're now asking for proposals, we don't have to accept any of those proposals, but once they tie that money up, that money's locked to us for all the other purposes that it was originally established. So if we're not going to get the amount that we need, or have it in there at least up to an amount, to 35, whatever it might be, then we are tying up money that we need for other purposes until this process is deleted or fulfilled in one way or the other.
Okay. Get the money.
It's just a matter of bumping the budget up so when the city freezes that amount, when we go out for the proposals, that we're not hurting our other areas of the budget for which we planned. This one was last year, we weren't looking for facilitator last year. Last year we were saying we're gonna have a commission do this and we'll go through the process. But then after discussion, and the budget passed. Then after discussion, everybody said, well, we really need a facilitator to handle this. We need a professional. So, okay, but the budget's already been approved without that line in there. So now we need the adjustment for when it comes back and gets tied up.
Right. And I am beginning, excuse me, I am beginning to think, why do we even have committee meetings? This is the example of what I mean. That's the finance committee meeting report with people like Chris, with experience, Dolores, who came up with very good questions and got the responses, and Neil. Now, they come up with a proposal, and we now take the topic and try to take it apart and spend an hour trying to evaluate what four very competent members of the board have presented to us. We're just going to have to develop some trust on what members of the committees are doing. And we do need to understand that a line item is something that was not even thought of when we approved the meeting. We have to begin with an amount. Personally, I don't think the $10,000 is going to do it. But let's say the $10,000 is what we're working with. It will be much more. So why don't we just go with what is being proposed, approve the $10,000 and go on? That was an hour ago when we started talking about it. Is it that folks?
Yeah.
1 hour.
A point of clarification, why are we still discussing this when it failed? We should move.
Because we have to do something about being a facilitator.
And because
y'all need to decide what you want to do about it.
But we've already voted it so that we already voted against number 5 so that he can bring back some information at the May meeting while we're not moving the agenda to the next item.
Okay, because there were questions that were unanswered that might have affected the vote, that there was not
So
an
are we
opportunity.
going, you want to bring it back up?
It was split rather, it was split.
Bring that back up.
Okay, it was split. I want to ask this. Jim, okay, regarding the facilitator, this was a question of finance meeting, all right? Jim Pelton explained that a strategic plan facilitator was not budgeted for this year because at the time the budget was created, it had not been decided how to proceed. He suggested it would be wise now to hire an outside facilitator. So what was the option to proceed with the facilitator, and what was the other option, or what were the other options? When the budget was created, it was not decided that we would use a facilitator for the strategic plan. It was not decided that we would use one at that point, okay? So what were the other options aside from using a facilitator?
I don't think we would.
Of course, the possibility is we would try to do it ourselves.
Yeah, okay.
Or get somebody locally to handle that. And I think I mentioned this the other day, but I may not have. You know, we work on the budget in July and August, and by September, it's presented to you so it then go through all the processes over the parish as well. So we're talking about last July, August, September, that we had not finalized this, but at that point, and it was not included in the budget at that point.
Because you weren't sure that we needed a facilitator, even though we knew we were going to, it was time for strategic planning to be done. We knew that, but we had not decided that we were going to use a facilitator, therefore it was not included in the budget. So you just answered that the option would be to have it done in-house, have it facilitated in-house, or to have it facilitated locally by someone here locally, right?
Or, you know, I mean, we look at whatever options we
Right,
got, you
right.
know.
Okay.
Since then, of course, a lot of thought and planning has gone into this as we moved past last year and started into this year, to decide that this potentially was the best way to handle it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And if this were passed today, to set aside the $35,000 in the budget for this, what happens next? And how is the board involved?
Well, then we'd go out for an RFP. We'd release the RFP to the list of vendors that Catherine has compiled. I think there's 12 vendors on that list who are professional facilitators for strategic planning. We would get a response from that, but it'd go through the city at that point, and then Susan, Jim, what's the next step?
We evaluate the responses, see who met the criteria that was put in the bid, and then winning individuals selected, like in that last case it was Sandra Nelson, and then we write a contract with her facilitator, whoever the winning individual is.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to entertain that, because those are the questions that I needed answered at the Finance Committee meeting. Those are the questions that I feel the board needed to have answered. I'm prepared, if I may, to make a motion. I'd like to move that we put in the budget the $35,000 for the facilitator and proceed according to as it was described.
And I can second that. I can too. I understand. I can second that.
Okay, the move is seconded. Move on, Laura, seconded, and right down. We put this $35,000 in the budget so we go out on the RFP to get a facility.
Excuse the abundance, but we be holding on to our taxpayer money. We just not gonna throw it away. You know, make sure it's gotta be spent properly.
More so too.
Say your motion again,
So we're ready to vote?
You wanna say that? Okay.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Yes,
I'll read it when you're ready.
All opposed? Okay. So, motion carries.
Let's go to the next
The last part of the financial conditions and activities report is we've been working with the city attorney. When we first asked the CPE branches to submit, as y'all know, you approved last year that we would assume some of the costs associated with maintaining the CPE branches. When we approached the different communities that were part of this process, we had a real difficult time getting all the records back in a way that we could use, and then also, as Brittany has pointed out, it would make a huge problem in trying to, for discovery and so forth. So what we have opted for, with your approval today, is that we propose that we do a subsidy to these different communities to help with their library that would be the equivalent of 75%. That subsidy would be based on the hours that branch is open, or the hours that we have of employees and the hours that, I think Jim can talk a little bit more about that. You have a copy.
Well, there's two parts to the formula, but let me just say something about the subsidy. I checked with our attorney, Julie Glass, and she said we could do a subsidy because they are providing the dedicated space for the library system, and the associated cost with the maintenance and that. The two parts of the formula was how many hours per year are they open, because it ranges from 15 hours a week to 35 hours a week, which is pretty substantially different. And then the amount of space that is dedicated to libraries. In 3 of the part-time branches, they have a separate building. In the other 6, they share space with other activities, whether it's their town hall complex or a public meeting room, or whatever. There's different things that they do. One of them has a museum in there. And so we came up with this formula idea. Julie Glass said the value of what they provide must be, the amount we give them as a substitute to provide this service must be equal to or greater than what we give them in money. And so we came up with this idea of the subsidy, because it's less complex. It's a little broader in that we're recognizing, and Thomas Tebby, when he came and talked about his request for IDAs, made the point that he felt the library should share more in the cost for providing the space, the utilities, the maintenance, and those type things. And the board agreed to that, asked us to come up with a plan. We had no money in the budget last year. When he made this proposal, it was, I think, the September meeting, for IDA, but it wasn't fair to do it for one without considering all the others. And there's been, I think Ron's had several other requests to share, provide more of this cost. It is a parish-wide tax, but the tradition has been that the 9 part-time towns and villages have, to this point, provided all of the utilities, building space, and the maintenance, and we've provided other things like the library staff, the materials, the online system, and that. So this is a little broader than that. It basically comes out to the same amount of money as the idea of providing 75% of their total cost for maintenance, utilities, and those type things. And so we worked out the formula. I sent out the information that included the cooperative endeavor agreement, which would have to be done. We did one of these when we agreed to partially fund their expansion when we had the expansion of all of our library branches, and that she said that the cooperative endeavor agreement would be required, and I included in that the details of what would be done. I actually took one and prepared it for a town, and then just put the town or village of, and eliminated all the factors that related to that, but that would be the way it was set up. With this slight change, we felt that we needed to bring it back to the board and ask for approval of the subsidy idea, even though logically it's going to end up being about 75% of the total maintenance and operating cost for the building. That's not the factor at this point.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, comments about that? Very good.
Yeah.
I think we'll need the amounts, first make the amounts.
Yeah, the amount.
Yes, there's a sheet in there that has the proposed amounts based on those two formulas, and that.
Okay, so the bottom line, we're talking about $63,171 for all the branches for a year, Jim?
Correct.
For the non.
Yeah.
The part-time branches. Okay, any questions? Doris?
I might have overlooked it. I might have overlooked it or forgotten it. But, is this less or more than what we've been paying?
It's more because we haven't been paying anything.
I mean, we've been helping them.
Not really, baby. That ain't green, but I know.
Not paying.
We have,
They take care of it.
We've done something.
we did not share, we have.
We voted to.
This is the result of that vote.
Oh.
This is the
That's the
result of
the
that
votes we
vote.
did.
We're trying to get this into
Yeah.
a workable arrangement that
It helped.
is fair and equitable to all of them,
That's what we voted.
based on how many hours they provide, are open for service, and then the size of the facility that they're providing.
So we had decided to do nothing for anybody.
No, we budgeted $78,000, up to $78,000 in the
Okay.
budget.
Not for all, a little something for
But
each one.
this
You
has
got to
been
think.
part of the process of
Okay.
trying to come up
Yeah.
with a specific formula, and be, like I say, fair and equitable to each and every one based on standardized factors.
So I guess I needed to reword my question, which I said I could be overlooking, and obviously I was. So it's less than what we budgeted.
Really?
It's less than
That was my, that's really the question I should have asked. It's less, or confirm, I wanted confirmation that it is less than what we budgeted.
We budgeted up to $78,000 in the budget for 2014.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the monetary proposal and being appreciative that they've concurred in affording services to all of the branches.
I say.
Joe seconds. Way to move, and we approve this, Joe seconds.
Okay, I was gonna second it, but we do have the money, right, Jim?
All in
They
favor?
gonna be happy.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No
Because I wanna
opposed,
make
motion
sure.
carries.
No, I'm
The other
second.
part of that, Mr. President, is that we also have to approve the cooperative endeavor agreement as a board before the parent or the city will allow us to go forward with negotiations with the individual villages and towns.
Because it's been the one that's been implemented, we just have to process it for each of them.
Well, this is the one that our attorney has reviewed, but now you have to officially approve it before we can do so.
The attorney, I tried to get the attorney to respond to it. This was, well, I put the details in there, like what the formula would be and all the requirements and stuff like that. And she's reviewing it right now. Assuming that she approves this, the differences within the towns and that would be, we'd figure out the exact hours they're open per year, the physical size of the space there, that's dedicated library space, and come up, and that's what's on this formula. But she might have some wording that makes it more legal, or say, you don't have to include this, or you should delete that. But what I suggested was that once she approves it, as to the form and all that, that Neil Johnson be authorized by the board to sign for the library board the executive agreements. We do each individually, which would spell out the details as their physical size, their hours, scheduled hours open, and that.
Yes, Jim, you base, I noticed there's a different in percentages. Did you use only the physical size or the circulation as well? Did you take circulation?
No amount of circulation was considered in any of this computation.
And is there a reason why? Why not?
They were asking us to help
Yeah.
with the physical cost in that. They weren't weren't
The
basing it
building
on
itself.
circulation or anything else.
So they will get this subsidy annually,
Correct.
and if there's any increase in the percentage, you will bring it back to the board or Dr. Heason?
Right. What I said in the cooperative endeavor
Yes.
agreement was that we would review this in 3 years.
Oh,
Now,
3
let's say
years.
somebody comes to the board
inside the building.
and they say, we're open 15 hours like we've had recently, and we would like to be open 25 or 30 hours. We said we would recalculate the formula for that based on those changes. But we're not looking necessarily to try to review this every year and try to do that. Also, I left an out in there that should our finances change and we could not afford this, or there's some problem or something, we could adjust it downward, we could adjust it, or even eliminate it if necessary. And that was just kind of, so they understand that we're trying to take on more responsibility, like Thomas Kelly asked us to consider sharing more in the cost of the library service up there.
Now Blanchard, Austin, and All City, they don't have a percentage because we own them?
No, that the entire building is library only. In Belcher, the town.
So we don't have
hall-
to give them a subsidy?
No, we're giving everybody a subsidy. But the Austin owns that building, that's their building. They're asking us to.
So we're gonna pay that anyway, is what you're saying?
So,
Ron?
but it'd be 100%
Yeah.
on that. What we figured out there, and the range is from Rodessa's only 38% of the building they're in is actually dedicated library space. Whereas I think in Gillum, it's 81% of the building is library space. The other 19 is the museum or whatever. And we're not going to pay for the museum, we're not going to pay for the town hall or anything like that. It has to be dedicated to the library space for the service they're providing by the building.
Well, thank you all for doing all this work.
The town
Pull all
will be
this
very
together
happy.
like this and
We need
to please a lot of citizens.
We need a motion to allow the board president to sign for the library on this cooperative.
All right, so moved. That, please.
I second it.
Lois moves and Gail seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I think they-
Motion carries.
I just think they're going to be happy. These little towns, yeah.
How soon will they start getting this subsidy, Jim?
Well, they'll get one this year, assuming we get all the stuff pulled together.
Before the end of the year?
Before November 1st.
Oh.
And that, we have a requirement in there for that.
And the
So, as soon as Julie Glass approves the form, we're ready to take it to the towns and villages to get them to agree to the cooperative endeavor agreement and the assurances they're giving us. Like they guarantee they're not gonna cut the space in half or decide we need more for the town hall or something else and things like that. So we spelled those out very specifically.
Okay, my apologies to everybody, because we kind of skipped around on the agenda here. We're at 5 and 5B, customers.
We need a vote.
To authorize you.
Need a vote. We have a motion.
We already did that.
We voted.
We authorized that he have the permission. to do
Yeah,
it.
we approved it,
Yeah,
that he
We
signed.
laid any names out.
We didn't vote?
We
Did
did
we
vote.
carry?
No.
We did.
Yeah,
You
we
seconded it?
I seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All
All
in
we did
favor?
this, Dolores moved.
And I seconded it, and then he carried it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're done.
Everything's been done a second time, Anita.
Mr. Marks wanted to make a comment about 5B. We don't know what, time for comments. is at the
It'll
end,
take less than a minute.
Go ahead.
One of the public records requests that we made was to ask for the policy and procedure for banning citizens' patrons from libraries. I have yet to receive a policy and procedure on library letterhead which defines how a citizen is put on this list. However, I did receive a 26-page list of banned patrons. Banned patrons are as young as 7 and 8 years old. I can understand 7 and 8-year-olds being troubled, but the reason that many are banned seems to defy policy or procedure, and that's why I think I still want the policy and procedure. Also, the names that some of these people are referred to me is racist and unacceptable.
You got the reasons you said?
Oh, yes,
I too would like
Oh,
to
for
have a
being
copy of
banned?
that.
for being
Okay.
banned. And
On the
the
policy.
names they are referred to is unacceptable.
Can we get a copy of that?
On the records request.
I have it, you can get it. Just file a public records request.
I'm saying, what you asked
I'm gonna
for.
make a motion for the board.
We can get a copy, right?
Children referred to as urban kids.
I'd like to make a motion because I noticed there's some things that I asked for and I'm not getting it. And I don't know why, but it leaves me in a position of not being able to address issues. So I'm gonna put this in motion that the director sends the board a copy of this 26-page of patrons that was banned.
Second.
And then we can move on.
It's been moved and seconded that the board members get a copy of this list of banned patrons.
With the policy.
And
With
with
the
the
policy.
policy.
May I make a comment? The policy is still in development. We've had a procedure that we've used for years. But we have a committee that includes Deontay and I think Marion, Jackie, and a couple of others on our staff who are working on developing it to further refine it because we don't feel right now the procedure that we've been using is adequate and appropriate. So we're trying to redevelop that, and as soon as it is developed, we will make sure that y'all have a copy.
So possibly based on their policy, some of those names can be rescinded, removed from.
So the procedure is just how to do it.
Okay, we can get you the 26 pages or however many pages.
By procedure, you mean how we do it, not